Hi, I'm Tony Beauvais. Welcome to episode 7 of Art V. On this program, we'll chat with creative duo Kitty Calvert about their unique art and Kate Drinnan, who works with textile-based mediums. But first, Jade Walsh, an Australian artist who uses a variety of mediums in her art to reflect the vulnerable, emotional and comedy in relationships and friendships. Jade is also a writer who believes art is a social tool and a way to empowerment. She has exhibited nationally and internationally and travelled to the USA and Europe for screen printing residencies supported by Australia Council grants. Joining us now is Jade Walsh. Hi, Jade.
Hi, Tony.
From memory, your art incorporates a bit of social commentary.
Yeah, from a personal perspective, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not been much socialising lately due to
No.
COVID.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Have you been productive throughout the COVID time, the restrictive time?
I have actually, but in probably more so marketing and finding spaces with a new shop space in regional Victoria. So a few kind of really great opportunities.
Yeah.
But not so much with making. It's been a strange time.
You've worked in fabric, paint and also performance.
Yes, I have. Yes, I've experimented in many ways, but I've come back recently really to focus on paintings, but with that blending textile and sewing into the paintings on the canvas.
Right. And also, you're also a writer.
I do like writing, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I do incorporate, actually, that's a big part of my work too, text, typography and type and words into the work. There's often that dialogue. I've heard some people have called my work cartoony.
Oh, right.
Which I'm not sure. I'm coming around at it liking now. I love cartoons, but I didn't really get that. I think the fine art and that kind of mesh, you've got to be comfortable with it. But if it can fit into the pop art genre, that's fine. So yeah, the type and the words coming out like a bubble out of people's heads, that's often what my work features.
Well, in current days now, animation has absolutely taken off. So you never know, you could have stumbled onto a whole new a special form medium type art.
Maybe, yeah.
Now, your the growth that you experienced while you were learning art and everything about it, that's taken you to quite a few places over the years, hasn't it? Because you've travelled throughout Australia, overseas as well. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about how all that went?
Yeah, sure. Well, I probably, how many years back now, maybe over 10 years, I was lucky to get an Australia Council grant for a screen printing residency in Philadelphia, actually, because I really love screen printing and I was developing my skills since high school, actually. So I looked into American screen printing collectives, in which there are a lot of, which I didn't find any in Melbourne or Australia. So that was what enabled me to go there. And ever since, I was going there every couple of years to work at screen printing places in New York and or Philadelphia a little bit. And that was amazing. And from there, that's where I discovered a bit of performance art, and I was really interested in that. But I'm not I've backed off from that now. But
you've also had some time in Central Australia, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. That was amazing. That was also I ran a screen printing workshop for Indigenous children, which was amazing. Which you have to, if you go to Alice Springs, you're going to be involved in that, and that was really an eye opener for me. And all of us Australians have got to learn a bit deeper, if we don't already, about the Indigenous and just how we can become more together. It's
Sure.
I know it's a complex issue, but yeah, so that was great. And I had an exhibition there, and it was textile-based works then, so which was easy for me to take over in my luggage, just lots of fabric.
Sure.
So that was great, yeah.
And also art is often referred to, especially by many artists, it's a tool to connect us all. It's a tool for unity, that's
Absolutely.
I think one of the powers of art itself. The fact it can never die, it'll only grow stronger, but it does bring us all together. But I love the fact that you've worked and taught from Alice Springs, the next minute you're in New York, it's like mini episode of Crocodile Dundee there, isn't it?
I know. Now I'm back in Ballarat. Well, in Ballarat, which is a new, from St Kilda to Ballarat.
Right, because the St Kilda was the Toot Gallery from memory. Is that right? Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, and what's happened with that?
Well, it's sort of, because Toot's part of what I'm doing, so I've sort of brought it back to where I am at the moment in Ballarat, and the council has supported an artist space for myself as an artist, but I've also slotted the Toot art space into half of it, so that's been amazing. So I've set up a zine and art space to kind of keep that St Kilda vibe going, and called it a regional pop-up. So however long it's going to last. But and I mean, because of the restrictions are eased here, it makes sense, even though I hate to tempt Melburnians, but I know that things will open up soon. But it has allowed us to keep going online too, so I can document what's going on here and people in Melbourne can see what's happening. And so we've actually got a physical space, which is amazing.
Great. And whereabouts is that in Ballarat?
It's in the Bridge Mall, which is smack bang in the, like the Burke Street Mall. They're trying to rejuvenate it because, unfortunately, which is also what's happening in COVID, there's going to be a lot of empty shops for lease signs around. I know Fitzroy Street, that's sort of been happening for a while, hasn't it? So council have been putting artists into these empty shop fronts, and it's been working really great. Really well. That's good. So we're right in the middle of Bridge Mall. So people in Ballarat know the Bridge Mall. It's like Burke Street Mall.
Hopefully in November, from Melbourne perspective, we'll have a little bit more leeway to jump in the car and go to regional Victoria, or to go anywhere, to be honest, which will really just assist. It'll assist with people's mental health. There's no doubt about it, to get some freedom back.
It'd be great,
So where can we find, there's samples of your work, and you've got a website which is just jadewalsh.com.au?
That's right, and so I've got my artist website, which is jadewalsh.com.au, and the Toot Art Space is tootartspace.com. So all of those are pretty straightforward, and we're on Facebook and Instagram under the same names.
Great. And so as soon as everything's opened up again and we head off to Ballarat, we've got something to see.
Come on down. Can't wait for you to be there.
So you're ready now. How's Ballarat now? People moving around?
Yeah, no, it's great. People I think that's what's going to happen in Melbourne. We're doing the right thing. We're still cautious, but we've got unlimited freedom, really. But we've got more outdoor dining happening. Just wearing the masks and sanitising. That's what the new normal's going to be, isn't it? So,
if we drive on up to Ballarat, we'll bring a little camera, some lights, and we'll do a little interview up there, so we've got it in the tank. Good on you.
Lovely. Look forward to it.
Thanks for your time, Jade.
Thanks, Tony.
Kitty Calvert is a creative partnership inspired by their love for all things vintage and a desire to reuse and recycle unique pieces of discarded treasure. Their art is truly original and is created using vintage, upcycled, recycled, lost, found and discovered treasures. The creative partnership, Kitty Calvert, joins us now. Hi guys, thanks for joining us.
Hi Tony, thanks for having us.
Now, your work is inspired by the love of vintage. How exciting, how different. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I think my background in vintage started when I was about 12 and I was one of Paddington Market in Sydney's youngest stallholders. I started collecting secondhand homewares and just loved the idea that there were stories behind all these things. And I traded in that right throughout my years. As time went on, eventually I met my husband, Phill. We've always liked vintage and retro things. We live in an old church. We like to collect things that that tell little stories to us. And I think that, so the idea behind the vintage is that we like to, tell the stories and
think of the stories, like the imaginings of you pick up something we find when we're digging around on our excursions, trying to find new componentry for the sculptures. We often pick up things and it makes you wonder, where has this been? Who else has handled this? I had one like this when I was a child, things like that. And when other people see the work, that's often what comes out of it. You see people pointing and talking and saying, my mother had that same tin in the kitchen and things like that. So, and then we bring all the components together into these kind of reimaginings of them and pair them with other old items and try and get them to talk to each other.
It's reminiscent of flashbacks to the 70s, I suppose, it's all a bit retro, but it's your art is very fun. Someone was describing it, it's mischievous, it's fun, it's funky, and it's the other part is sometimes you use things as found and you don't touch them.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at the moment, we're working with a lot of dolls' heads and vintage dolls' heads. And those dolls' heads particularly give them a quirk factor because the dolls themselves all have their own individual expressions. So all the dolls have been pre-loved by who knows how many years ago, but we have dolls that date back to the 1900s, 1910s, 1940s, and they're in various states of disrepair, and that comes with its own little faces and hair missing and stories. So, and then the way we combine them with their other pieces to tell little stories, and we hope that makes other people bring their stories out as well.
So you must have acquired some skills in fixing up stuff. My father, always renovating, but it was reuse that, son. There's ways to do this and to turn it into something useful. Still doing it today. So who was hands-on with that when they were young?
Well, Julia's more the creative. Like she'll get the various components and shape them together, either lying down or standing up with blue tack and little vices holding them in place. And then she goes, I want it to go like this, and then I have to look at the materials and work out how we're going to get the whole thing to hang together. So it's a combination of a lot of threaded rod, nuts, locking washers, pop rivets. There's no actual welding as such, but a lot of fixings and things. My father, yes, I was taught very hands-on as a child. You're strangling your hammer, son. Don't work in your own light. All that. It taught me how to handle tools properly, and so I often have to have a good long think about it before I can work out how to make it. But I don't think I've let you down yet, have I?
No, there's been some skin loss. Definitely blood, sweat and tears go into those kitties.
A lot of those old tins have got some rusty edges on them, but and it's good, there's so much of the disposable in our society these days, and less. So it's nice to be able to bring something back to life and create delight with it, rather than everyone just going, oh, that's had it, throw it away, get a new one from China wrapped in styrofoam and plastic. And we go, no, let's try and get these things and breathe life back into them.
And in a way, a great inspirational tool for people to look for something that can be recycled. Instead of throwing it into landfill, let's turn it into something fun, and especially as your work evokes the the magical childhood memories. Reusing.
We have had people ask us to, give us their things. They say, oh, look, I have all these things and I was going to throw them out. I don't know what to do with them. Would you like them? So, yeah, we do see ourselves somewhat as rescuers of pieces. And the idea that we can give them a new life that will take them another 100 plus. Who knows? I mean, the way they're engineered by Phill is very strong. You pretty much can pick these sculptures up and almost swing them around by their head because he does such a good job. But, the idea that they will go on and bring joy to a new generation and for the future rather than just going into the garbage or, landfill is, it's something that makes us happy.
Oh, terrific. How long have you guys been the cooperative, the creative partnership as Kitty Calvert?
I only really started this around about a year or so ago. So the collecting started before that, but the actual first piece evolved just over a year ago.
We've had a phenomenal response to it. We had it fortunate to have an exhibition at Gasworks Park in the gallery there, and we have had them in also the gift shop of the Art Gallery of Ballarat have also put some of it in there and sold them as well. But you see people's the joy on their face when they're entertained by them. So we think there's going to be hopefully more positive reaction to it. We hope it's a difficult time right now because every show that you'll place, you try and get something into, it's all just being postponed and postponed. So
we had a number of exhibitions booked in, but they've all had to be cancelled, and they'll be rescheduled probably next year, but we don't know when. But the upside of that has been that the Gasworks, because of the opening and closing, has been kind of this long gone going show. Every time they reopen, they keep having to postpone their other exhibitions, and so we've sort of just been there and it's opened and closed, and there's some of the pieces are still there. So
still there. You guys have been a laugh. It's been so much fun, especially making funky stuff out of old stuff that was going to die and be, pointless.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
We
all
love
the best. We'll see
Thank
you.
you so much. You
we'll
too.
catch up with you at Gasworks in a little while. Okay.
Wonderful.
That'd be great.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so much for your time. Kate Drinnan has explored many mediums looking to discover her creative outlet, but her fascination with manipulating fabric, fibres and paper gave her textured life. I spoke with Kate earlier. Kate joins us now. Hi Kate, how are you going?
I'm really great, Tony. How are you going?
Yeah, pretty good through all the COVID restrictive time. It's been fun for me to catch up with lots of artists, to be honest, so it's great.
Definitely a different way of doing it.
Now, I do notice, I looked at your profile, you started really young. You were playing with finger puppets with googly eyes at 4 and then looking through camera lenses at 9 years old. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think I was always encouraged to be really creative by my parents and the people around me. My dad, as my 11th birthday present, actually bought me an SLR camera.
Classic.
And it actually became my way of relating to the world. I was quite shy, but as long as I had my camera with me, I was able to actually interact with people and relate to them. And I became a bit of a sort of a hunter, if you will, a hunter for that perfect photograph. I could blend into the background and get those really sneaky ones of those perfect moments. So I went from photography into a fascination with fabric and textiles.
Yeah, you did a bit, but you played around with a little bit of writing as well. You have a little time there.
Yeah, that was probably, honestly, my first love was writing. So out of high school, I studied journalism. The structure of that didn't quite fit for me, but that's always been another way of me expressing my emotions and my feelings. And even that's coming back into the work now. Through printing onto the textiles as well. So, yeah, definitely. I love telling a story.
Definitely. Also, a lot of your work it revolves around the laws of Mother Nature. Can you tell us how you work that in?
But I grew up at the base of the Dandenongs. So the environment, Mother Nature, trees, an appreciation for it and a love for it is something that I was instilled with at a really young age. So, it's really important to me to be really conscious of where my materials come from. I use a lot of recycled denim, deconstructed clothing, that kind of stuff. It's just important for me, for my art, not just to be beautiful, but to try and educate with it as well.
As to the impact humans have made on the planet.
And just about them reconnecting with what nature can give us as much as what we can take from it. I think we get very focused on what we can take from it rather than what it can actually, or what we can give to it and what it can give to us.
Yeah, it'd be nice for mankind to give a little bit more back rather than just to rape, pillage, destroy and destruct. We're going so well. Well, hopefully your current series is, I'm not sure, what is it called, Shorelines, or is it the harbour?
It started off with Shorelines, just as the narrowing. But I think when I brought the environmental factor into it, and after a conversation with my husband, no safe harbours is actually what it's called now. So there's no safe harbours. We can't take nature for granted. We can't. There was a personal aspect to it as well, in that I was being a textile artist. It's a bit of a different a bit of a different environment than being a painter. And I was playing safe with my art. So it was a call to me as well to sort of let go a little bit and not be afraid to take a risk.
How's COVID, the restrictive time, how's it treated you since March? What's been going on?
A whole bunch of things I wanted to get done in terms of skills I needed to learn to be able to express myself properly in the textile world and feel comfortable in a professional sense doing that. So I've been able to explore those. It's been great in that sense, but it's also been frustrating in that I had exhibitions lined up that have been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and most of them are now next year. So it's been a mixed bag and up and down, really.
Hopefully that the next exhibitions, which is No Safe Harbour, that's the one planned, that's February?
No, so my next one will be at sea at the moment, at Southern Boy down in Mornington. And that's a collaborative exhibition with MAVA, which is the Melbourne and Victorian Artists. And then the one following that is actually at No Vacancy Gallery, and that's another COVID-based collaborative exhibition. Right. So, yeah.
Great. So all that information regarding those is up online, so people can have a look there to track you down.
Yeah, I'll pop them on Instagram because everything's so fluid at the moment.
True. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kate, thank you so much for giving us some time today and to catch up. Hopefully we're aiming to catch up at some point in 2021 when we're all sort of back in full flight again and see how we're going.
Yes, hopefully there'll be some no safe harbours.
Yeah, well, yes. There are no safe harbours, but yeah, I know what you mean. Clever play on words. Thanks so much for catching up with us.
No worries.
Look forward to seeing you soon. Okay, thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week. If you'd like to contact us, you can send us an email at ideas@studioemedia.com.au. That's all for this week. See you next time.